The Liberals have a new federal leader, but they've still got traitors and backstabbers. And this is serious. Someone leaked the party's internal report into how the Liberals lost the election. And the party decided to keep it confidential, give new leader Angus Taylor and his deputy Jane Hume clear air so they can attack the government and not talk forever about the past. And also because the report was predicted and does attack decisions they also made in the last campaign, bad decisions. Now, whoever leaked that report did Labor a huge favour, and we know that because the Prime Minister himself got a copy of the report and tabled it in Parliament yesterday so that every journalist could report it. Joining me, Gemma Tonini, columnist and communications consultant, and Caroline Di Russo, commentator and president of the West Australian Liberals. Caroline, who in the Liberal Party would help Labor like that? And should they be fired, hunted down like dogs and sacked?
Oh. Now. Look, disappointing, obviously, the lack of discipline. I'm not going to relitigate that on national television. But the point that you make about the Prime Minister here is really interesting because there's so much going on in the world, Andrew. There's so much going on economically here, obviously domestically, Iran and the ISIS brides and a whole number of other things that the Prime Minister doesn't want to talk about because he doesn't want to be accountable for. And you only have to listen to a few snippets out of what he had to say on ABC 7:30 the other day, and there was a lot of wriggling around. So I think the most important thing, Andrew, is the blowtorch goes back on the government and we stop talking about this distraction.
Well, you say that, but Gemma, I mean, in Parliament today, it's clear that the blowtorch is being given by the Albanese government to the Coalition's new Shadow Treasurer, Tim Wilson, because they obviously see him as a threat. True. But I have to say, I like Tim Wilson, but he helped them when he put this question to them in Parliament today.
The Treasurer did start the inflation fire. The inflation's burning. While the Treasurer is squirming, the Treasurer did start the inflation fire. Yes, he poured petrol on it and he cashed organised crime to fuel it.
Gemma Tonini, you're the communications consultant. Communicate and consult on this one.
Well, look, I don't like giving advice for free, Andrew, but I will in this instance. Don't do that, Tim. Don't do that. Don't do that again, ever. But can I just circle back and shoot me for using that phrase? But can I just go back a second to the Liberal Party report? Because I do want to say two things. I don't think anyone outside of the parliamentary bubble, the Liberal Party, Labor Party bubble, cares about it. There's a cost of living crisis, there is a national security crisis and a war in the Middle East that is significant. Nobody cares about that except people in the political bubble. That's the first thing. Second of all, for my sins, Andrew, I read it. It's publicly available now because it's read into Hansard. It reads like Mrs. Mangle's gossip column from Neighbours, from Ramsay Street. It's not a particularly well-written report. It's not a particularly salacious report. It's actually, in my professional view, not a particularly robust report. I wouldn't wager a bet, and my learned friend's not allowed to say anything, but I wouldn't wager a bet that they kept it quiet because the report was a bit embarrassing. It's not particularly well written. I don't think the Australian public cares. I think they care about the cost of living and they care about national security.
I read one page in particular that I might come back to tomorrow that struck me as particularly inane, to be honest. Caroline... No, it does. Essentially, the advice is treat Australia like a hotel because it's changed character. Well, honestly,
it's not a good
that's
report.
The advice.
It's
no wonder One Nation is going. It is. Caroline, we've just seen the explosion of the most expensive team in Australian media history, and this is probably one reason why so many journalists are gloating about it. A lot of schadenfreude going on here. Kiss FM signed up presenters Carl Sandilands and Jackie O for about $100 million each over 10 years. But after just 2 years, Sandilands gave Jackie O a spray, which has made her now pull the plug. Here's just some of it.
Everyone you can see has said something over the last month. It doesn't have to be this big thing here. It's not great. It's just a fact. Brooklyn, wake up. I'm not lying to her to make her feel bad. This is actually what people have said to me. I've got no issue. But it is affecting everything else. I'm not tiptoeing through this for another couple of weeks. This is constant. You don't know what all the time because you're looking at that phone playing in the stars, and it's ridiculous.
Now, Jackie O was distressed. She's walked, and Sandilands has been suspended. He must show cause why he shouldn't be sacked. How big a deal is all this?
Well, in a country that is more interested in maths than what is going on in Parliament, this is actually probably a pretty big thing. I think more people are reading about this in the Daily Mail than anything else. Look, I find Kyle's behaviour pretty abrasive, and, you know, it apparently seems to work, but I think maybe he may have just crossed the line this time. Again, I can't believe that we've had this massive commercial relationship blow up over someone's use of astrology, and that someone else thinks it's stupid. So, look, I mean, they're part of the legacy media. You wonder what happens after this, Andrew. Do they go start a podcast each and make a whole heap more money?
I don't think so. I think they got paid over the odds. The station had to sack lots of staff to pay for it. They bombed in Melbourne, and I think the station's privately glad that they can rip the contract up. But Gemma, what is the moral to all this? Is being mean now not quite as lucrative as it used to be?
Look, I've never been a fan of the shock jock thing, Andrew, so I feel a little bit unqualified, but it's never stopped me before, so why not answer the question? True story. One must be acquainted with one's weaknesses. I'm an employer, as you know, and taking that out of the context of that radio show and into any other place of employment, his behaviour, in my view and my experience, would have been untenable. Is it sackable? Depends on your contract. But publicly abusing a co-worker and publicly telling your co-worker that everybody in the office essentially hates them, I don't think that would fly in many workplaces, if any. And also, it's just not. I don't know if people want to listen to that. There's so much negativity in the world anyway. Do people really want to listen to that? You've mentioned that they bombed in Melbourne. I saw something on the Bell Tower Times just before coming on air. And for those who are uninitiated, it is a West Australian gem. Get amongst it. And it's a satire account, obviously. And the headline read, "New report confirms that West Australians continue to cease caring about Kyle and Jackie O." I don't even think they broadcast in WA. They've never been a thing. So, look, I don't know that I would have spent 100 mil on those two over 10 years. I wouldn't have done that.
Well, I'll just say that Jackie O enabled him and went along with him being mean to a lot of other people. But now that he's been mean to her, the joke's over. Anyway, so there it is. Iranians are celebrating the assassination of Iran's supreme leader and even cheering the attacks on his Islamist regime by Israel and America. But meanwhile, here at home, we've seen the Greens and the ABC and, you know, people who have never had to suffer from anything that the Iranian regime has done to them, never had to suffer. They're attacking these attacks. There's a very interesting dichotomy. You explain that, please, why the Iranians are happy and the Greens and the ABC here are sad.
Well, it's inexplicable when you think about this rationally, but the ABC and Greens, well, they've been raving over authoritarian dictators for a very long time, so it doesn't surprise me that they're upset about this, or that they would necessarily criticise someone who had suffered under this regime. I mean, for the sorts of people that talk a lot about humanitarianism and you know, but it's all very convenient. It's when that is convenient to them, it's when it suits. And unfortunately, when things like this happen, and we know that this has been a very, very brutal regime, we know people have been leaving there over the course of almost the last 50 years to escape persecution and the like. The fact that the ABC can carry on like this, well, it's just another example, Andrew, of the hypocrisy, the lack of understanding and the tone deafness that we've come to love about the national broadcaster.
It's interesting, isn't it, Gemma, when leftist hero Bill Clinton bombed Serbia, no problem. When Barack Obama bombed Libya, left it a smoking ruin overrun by militias with, Muammar Gaddafi murdered in the most so obscene a way I can't even describe it. Not a problem. But when Donald Trump overturns this regime or tries to, suddenly it's evil personified.
Well, the simple fact for this cohort we're talking about is that they so despise the liberators that they would deny freedom to the people who are oppressed. And it's perverted and it's twisted and it makes no objective sense. It certainly makes them not students of history because they seem to They seem to forget the circumstances under which the Ayatollah stole power back in 1979, and the fact that he flew in on an Air France jet after having lived very happily in France, enjoying all of the freedoms of the West. And might I remind our friends at the ABC and other places that many of the children of mostly the now deceased, I should say, leadership of the IRGC and the Iranian regime live in Western countries, live and study abroad in Western countries, dressing like the same young Westerners that the constitution of the Iranian regime swears to do away with. Death to America, death to Israel. I don't understand why we have a cohort of such illiterate, historically illiterate people presenting themselves as experts. And I can tell you what the one divider is, Andrew, and the one line in the sand is. You ask yourself this question, and I ask this to those learned friends down at the national broadcaster. Would you be happy for your daughter to go live under that regime? Would you be happy for your wife or your mother to go live under that regime, or your son?
Exactly
and if
right.
the answer is not absolutely, I'll buy them a ticket tomorrow, then you're nothing but a hypocrite.
I got to go.
Yeah.
True. Gemma Tonini, Caroline Di Russo, thank you so much.